Hello and welcome everyone to our newest episode here on the Juicy Life Leader TV on YouTube. We have here the Tuesday Community Empowerment Training, and I'm Sylvia Becker-Hill, delighted to be your host, an empowerment mentor, trainer, sometimes coach. And we are here today, a small group from around the world. And today is a bit different. It's like a special edition because I felt that with the intensity, what's going on in the world, in my own life and what I heard from others, it's time to have a check-in. And it's time to have an open space for questions and answers, because we have done already 14 intense episodes with a lot of content. And obviously this year is a free offering. You are not yet behind the scenes in my academy, so there is sometimes something where out of time or quality or process reasons I can't go into the depths I always would love to go with you. Always, I love the depths. There's this sweet saying, I must be a mermaid because I have a fear of shallowness and love the depths of the sea or something. So I'm this kind of mermaid girl. So today is an open space. You here, Mickey and Steve and Linda and Terry, you are driving it, your questions. And my goal is here to hold space, to be of service, to answer your questions, and to allow what wants to happen to happen. So Mickey, you were first here. Do you have a prepared question or something spontaneous? You have the floor, my dear.
So thanks a lot for giving me this big opportunity. This is maybe the fourth lesson, let's call it lesson. I'm focusing with you. And my wondering is about the spirit of the cooperation, because for me, according to me, the most difficult thing for a leader is how not to be influenced by the others. Because, I mean, if you are a leader, you need to be in a different position, so to be more open-minded and more wide. But at the same time, you have to listen to the other people needs and reactions. So my wondering is to better understand which is the secret of a leader to follow the path, not being too much authoritarianistic, let's say, but at the same time listening to the other people needs. So how to go on the path and feeling to be always on the right path.
Amazing. Mickey, before I start answering, I just want to quickly welcome here Anne Heuberg. It's such an honor to have you here. Anne Heuberg is a woman in the Hall of Fame of women's history and research here in California. And it's so wonderful to have you here. We have an open space here. Mickey was the first one here. Today we do Q&A and allow whatever wants to unfold. Mickey, what you just asked, I think, is a question thousands of years old. And I had so many clients ask the same question in different ways and forms. I say that so that you know you are in good company. It's not your personal struggle, or there's nothing you are lacking as a leader for having that question, because I think this is one of the core questions of leadership. And I allow myself to free flow with my hand to what you said. I love the word spirit of the corporation. And maybe in English, the connotations are different. But in German, the word spirit is literally the same word as what we use for ghosts. So when you said the spirit of corporation, I suddenly had this image of, like a creature. the spirit of the corporation. And the question comes, what you described as a leader, and I can't remember exactly the quote, but there's a quote from ancient Roman Caesar who says something about what it means to be a leader, which is to somehow be among the people, like them, with them, and to be outside of them. So there is a paradox, what you are alluding to. So it is a bit like we as leaders, we have to have, and this is not tricky. So let's say the spirit is all encompassing. So all the team members, the employees, everyone is inside the spirit, right? And there's a paradox too. We are in the spirit, but we are also creating it. So as a leader, we have to have somehow a foot, and I'm making it now symbol as a shoe. We have to have one foot in the spirit with the other team members, but also one foot outside. And I think the answer, what is the secret? What is the secret to lead through the paradox and with the paradox in my world? And I want to hear others too, because I know here Steve, Linda, Terry, and Anne, you are leaders in your own right and have worked with other leaders. For me, the solution or the secret is to dance. For me, it is the dance of allowing myself as a leader to be with the others, in the others, meet them for lunch, have lunch together, chat with them, make sometimes celebrations where we can meet casually dressed and really talk from human to human. For me, it's about learning biographies, learning the children's names, the birthdays of their spouses. So be one of them, and yet regularly, like a dance where you go left and right and back and forth, where the waltz comes to my mind, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there must be a rhythm of you retreating to be outside, the ghost. And I need my other colors here. 1 second. To be outside the spirit, to be able when you are outside. The cool thing is when we are outside, we have a different perspective. When we are outside, our eyes we have a different view. We can see blind spots, people who are inside the system, who are part of it, who are drowning in stress, overwhelm, and too much work, can't see. So for me, my answer, and then I will give the talking stick to others. My answer is you need to train, not you need. The invitation is to dance, where you train yourself to dive in, be part, and then like the mermaid, get out of it, retreat, and look at the whole thing, everything, the system structures, the people, and the spirit from different angles. Because when we look from different angles, we will see different things. And it's always about uncovering the blind spots. Because no matter where I look, from which direction, I always cover only a certain area. There are always pieces which are hidden. And that is then an added ingredient for the dance is humbleness. I mean, as leaders, we will never be able to understand it all, be everything for everyone, do it all perfect. So a dance with humbleness. Does it make sense, Miki, or is that too abstract?
Yes, of course. So it's very nice because the dance gives also the sense of the rhythm, because the dance cannot be alone. For dancing, you need the music. So the music can be like the spirits of everybody creates the music. So the dance needs the music and needs the people. So it's nice because
we can dance a waltzer while there is a house music. It could be ridiculous. So to dance in a right, proper way, you need the right music. So the music is given by everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What makes
Thank
you
you.
smile so beautifully? You look changed. Your whole face lit up. You're smiling. Your eyes are wider. Feel inside yourself and in your body. What's going on right now? Something got like a button turned on. What do you feel right now?
Uh, well, the secret is that I've been taking 3 days off because I'm going to face a very intense work season, because my hotel is going to open very soon, and to be a good leader, I need to stay in balance. So it's not egoistic. Taking some time for me, it's for the other people benefit, because if I'm balanced, I can be very in the right mood. So I've been going for 3 days in my favorite place on earth, which is Ischia, an island in front of Naples, which is fantastic island with thermal healthy things. So and taking care about myself, and I'm in a very, very good mood. So it's very weird that you notice immediately the
Well,
difference of the life.
the vision of Ischia is radiating out of your pores, my dear. And I'm so impressed by your wisdom. Seriously, I'm so
Oh, yeah.
impressed by your wisdom, because not a lot of leader would have made that choice. They would have work, create to-do list and plans and system structures about the opening, etc., etc. And you realized, which is part of my training, inner alignment first, outer actions second. So you make sure that you have inner alignment, and you go to Ischia to get to that inner alignment. And so when you come back, you are a juicy life leader who opens
Yeah.
the hotel, which you will be different. And you already are now different, because it shows in your whole face and your body language and your energy. Absolutely beautiful.
And sorry if I just want to add one little tip, because you opened that issue, let's say issue, because 2 lessons ago we spoke about my experience with my patriarchal, hierarchical father's management, who is very centric and very old and very strong, let's say. So he's losing his mind now, because the planning of the booking, all the links to putting all the rooms together. So he's experiencing a very, let's say, heart strong, weird beating. So he's going to the hospital. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but it was nothing so bad. It's just because he's very stressed and nervous. So when he looked at me saying, what are you doing? We are in the worst period of ever, and you're taking a vacation now. And I said, yes, because to be a good leader, if you are not in the right mood and in a good spirit, you lose the sense of the business. So I'm sorry, it's not against you, but it's for me and for the others. So I'm taking 3-4 days of a wonderful vacation, and I will come back and I will better than before. So
I'm
it's very
so
weird.
I'm so happy for you and proud and really, really touched, because you are role modeling here something of wisdom of an end of a new generation in my eyes, a new generation of leaders. And what you described so beautifully, and I will, take your father in my space of positive vibe sending out, that he is stable and healthy. It's such an archetypal contrast you described. The old school bulldozing through, hustling. This is the first module in the Juicy Life Leader Academy, is from sweating, hustling to blissful flow. And you chose to get to the blissful flow by choosing the 4 days in Ischia, which for me is one of the best top leadership decisions. Yet in the old paradigm of the hustling, bulldozing, fighting person that's like a leaving the sinking ship, yeah, going private, yeah, being egoistic, and you say no, 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 no. It's something I do for myself, and yet ultimately it's for the whole system. This is so amazing. Thank you, Mickey, for your question and role modeling and being willing here to be so personal. And Steve here brings in the humor. Ghosts do not sweat. Well, you have never met a German ghost. We Germans can work so hard that we even make the ghost sweat. And while we were here already together, we had two others coming in, Shuya and Marilena. I'm so happy to see you here today. We are having an open space, a Q&A, and this was so round with Mickey. So even if you have more to say to Mickey, please use also the chat box, give encouraging comments, feedback, and also if you would like to connect phone numbers or email addresses, they will not be shared on YouTube. So those, if you are watching the replay, if you want to be here live with us and connect, you have to sign up. The link is below the video, juicylifeleader.com/free training. It's free, so why not do it? Thank you, Mickey, my dear. When I remember correctly, the second one here was Steve. Steve, my dear, any question, anything you would like to use here the space for?
Well, I was just, as I was listening, let me put my headphones on. As you were talking with Mickey about the shift to the new paradigm where a serious leadership move is self-care for 3 days on a beautiful island off the coast of Naples, I thought of many of my clients who are on the brink of partnership, right? They're moving to that next, what they often think of as final stage of their career. And more often than not in this place of, I can't say no to anything. I can't breathe. I can't. This year has to be horrible. What did you call that's why I said the ghosts don't sweat, but they do dance and flow. Blissful flow instead of hustle and sweat. Hustling sweat. Is that what you said?
Sweating hustle.
Sweating hustle, yes. I just long for that for myself as well. But I was smiling. I had to smile, and I wrote down blissful flow on these handy little CET, info sheets, one sheets. Because life is often feels like that sort of blissful flow when I just let it happen. Yesterday, I am involved in a program, the GIVE program, Guaranteed Income Validation Effort in the city of Gary, Indiana. We're going to see if universal basic income, or at least guaranteed income, universal would be to all, how it helps people pull people out of poverty. And when we started working on reconciliation last year, and when I ran for office in 2019, I had no clear path to this particular destination, but more like a sense of wanting to do something, wanting to be part of something good. And in this way, it sort of has flowed. We are, the session yesterday was to meet the recipients. 125 have now been chosen, and a few have volunteered to be documented on film. And we have a film crew, a fantastic, amazing film crew, who are going to spend the year with those participants and document what actually happens. And so we're in a church in Gary, Indiana, meeting people, and we got to meet the pastor. And there was one woman who was there. Her name was Camille, and she has 4 children, 25, 16, or 25, 13, 10, and 4, I believe. And then a granddaughter who's also 4 who lives there. And then her grandmother, I think she said, who has dementia and Alzheimer's, and they're all living in this one house. And none of them are in school now because the schools are closed because of COVID.
So if you like, you can also put, if you have a link or web page about the project into the chat box. So if anyone, you know, here we have some here living in the United States and even in the Midwest can support that, givegary.org. Awesome.
Givegary.org. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what was coming up for me, is that, you know, just to now see even how there's a sort of blissful flow that might come to someone who's in such a dire, untenable situation as Camille, that help can show up, and it's $500 a month for 12 months, which will really make a difference for her and other participants. And it's such a world, like I still work at the same place that I worked, you know, when we met. 5 or 6 years ago. And I think because I let go of what I wanted to make out of my career or what I had to do in any particular place and just let things happen, that now I find when I don't take myself too seriously, I end up in this sort of blissful flow. I get to be on this call with all these amazing people for free training from one of the most amazing leaders I've ever met. So that's, I don't know that it's really a question, but that's the observation for me. And nonetheless, there are those scary moments of being a ghost, right? I get triggered and I get upset and things are too much, you know, probably at least once a day, but it's not the norm, which is how it often seems for my clients, that's the norm. And every once in a while, they might bliss out for a few moments.
So when you feel that kicking in, and we all know that being hijacked by the amygdala in our beloved brain, and the stress comes in, and sometimes it can be such a small thing. This is often for me so embarrassing. I just conquered a big challenge, and something tiny, an email, or even worse is a comment from a stranger trolling me on Facebook, and suddenly my amygdala is sending stress hormones through my whole body. Tell us, Steve, what is one of your tricks of your toolbox? How do you get yourself out of being hijacked back into the Steve, the sage, who is centered and calm? What do you do?
Yeah, I like how you put it as one of your tricks, because there are so many different things that can work. It almost doesn't matter what you do. What came to mind is, I think, something that Tony Robbins said, is he said that motion creates emotion. So it's almost always something with my body. Sometimes I will go stand on the porch, look, you know, our driveway is facing south, so the magic driveway where the snow melts in the winter because of the sun. We're in the northern hemisphere, and I just stand and close my eyes and have the sun sort of beat through my eyelids, you know, where you get that right, or that sort of red thing. And I think of last nice trip I took with Celine, my wife, was our 10th anniversary to Hawaii. So I can be in Hawaii for 2 minutes, you know,
awesome.
outside on my magic driveway. But it is, if I don't move my body, if I don't breathe differently or take a sip of water or whatever it is, then I stay stuck, and it can really start to unravel.
Beautiful. Thank you. That was your gift here for the group and beloved viewers of the replay. And I want to just point them out, because it was already a whole basket full of juicy tips here from Steve. So body moving, leaving the place literally where you got triggered and move into a different room or somewhere. Connection to nature, you went outside, you used sunlight. Light is a super helper. And then you did something for which the HeartMath Institute became globally famous. You made a visualization of catapulting yourself into a happy memory where you have experienced some blissful happiness. And of course, you made sure you are hydrated. So this was, in my perception, so a basket full of 6 juicy tips. Thank you, Steve. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so honored to sometimes work with you in projects together. It's just lovely. So everyone, I just give you a warning. I'm going through the row here, how you showed up. If you need to leave earlier, tell me in the chat or raise your hand so that I can take you earlier. Otherwise, I would go next to Linda, and then Terry, and then Anne, and then Shuya, and then Marilena, if that works for all of you. Linda, my dear, welcome. What's your question or comment, or what would you like to use the space here today?
You know, I really didn't have a question today. I was just fascinated to get together with everybody and hear what everybody else was thinking. I've also had all these ups and downs all week. And so I just kind of I wanted to be with the camaraderie of everybody today.
Beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. Linda, I think Linda and Marilena are the two most consistent showing up members. I think with Linda, one of the 14 episodes more than Marilena or something. So thank you for your loyalty. That means a lot, because we all know there's always so much. I mean, the internet and free stuff and attention grabbing, the newest discovery and self-development and leadership and this and that. And I'm honored to get through the noise to you guys. That's awesome. So Terry, hi Terry, welcome. Any comments, questions? How would you like to use the space today?
Hello. I read that you should come with questions, etc. It just seems like every week a new client wants to do something during this time period. And so anytime I get a chance to be free during this time, I just love space with you, Sylvia. So thank you so much. I kind of have two thoughts going back to Mickey's question and your free-form development of the space and the dance. And what I found as a dancer myself, and for many years taught dance. I actually taught dance to gymnasts who hated to learn to dance. So whole thing, but not everybody's willing to dance. And so for me, the 1 foot in and 1 foot out, I started my career in an ad agency and learned the beauty of creative collaboration. And to me, my word instead of dance would be create, and then creating the space to allow dance. And you could call that space culture. So as a leader, a lot of times we don't know the culture of the day, or really even the culture of the meeting, because we're not aware of everyone that's coming into that space. And so whether or not we can define it or put our finger on it, there's a culture of every moment. And so if we can create the culture for people to be creative and to dance, and I'm going to use this word very loosely and then tell you why, empower people to feel free to be both inside and outside and collaborate with that exchange. I spend the first probably hour and a half of my day reading anything I can get on leadership, and decided to reread Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. And this week have been so coming back and focused and moved by her definition of empower. And she says that we often talk about empowering people, but what the heck does that really mean, right? What does that mean? And she defines it in 3 ways. I'd love, do you mind if I share? I'll go through it.
No, please. I love Brene Brown's work, please.
She says that it's the power, right? The power of empower as leaders. What do we do? And she says that we have to do it. It's 3 things. We power with as leaders, and that has to do with finding common ground among different interests in order to build collective strength. So creating the strength for everybody to be willing to dance. She says we have to power to. She says power to translates to giving everyone on your team and acknowledging their unique potential. And she says the third part of empowering is to power with. So we have power with, power to, and power within. And says that is defined by an ability to recognize differences and respect others, grounded in a strong foundation of self-worth and self-knowledge. And I've just been living with this power with, power to, and power within as a leader to create safe spaces, create the culture to dance, create to be in and out interchangeably. And in tying my thought up, there's something that is driving me crazy in today's environment. Everywhere I go, people talk about the new normal. And I don't think there's such a thing, because to me, a new normal erases everything that got us to today. And so I want to have an evolving normal, an empowering normal, something that powers within, something that allows us to grow and be okay if today's normal is different from tomorrow's normal. So with my clients, I'm really working on embracing a new moment as an evolution of where we've been. That's all I have to say.
The technology has supported your passion, because as more you were speaking, there was some kind of background noise. No one knew what it was. It was like drums getting higher and higher. And yes. So the internet is absolutely underscoring what you just told us. I loved it. That was so perfect, because when you finished, suddenly there was silence. So yay, Terry. Yay to you, yay to Brene Brown and her amazing, beautiful work and what she's bringing there. And I just have to plug in here a spiel for my Juicy Life Leader Academy, because you all know I want you all to sign up for that. Because what you just described, Terry, these empowerment for with and to and within, or also what Steve gave us, a toolbox, all these things, for me, the big challenge, and this is why I designed the Academy the way I did, is the sustainable long-term embodiment of all those insights. Because we can read the most amazing here, Dare to Lead, and whatever books I have read now, I'm every few years I'm counting a bit, I'm close to 20,000 books in my life. And there are still things where I struggle if I don't take the effort to embody that what I have learned. And the key word for me, in where the energy here of the technology was underscoring you, Terry, at the end was, you said evolved or evolution. I'm not sure any longer which form of the word. For me, it's about evolution, and evolution really happens not when we only understand intellectually. And right now, I agree with you, Terry, this whole new normal, there's a lot of things we have to discern and distinguish to be clear what different people mean by that. And for me, the evolution is really happening when the embodiment, here going back to Steve, we need to move our bodies. And when the insight, the learning is not landing in the body and embodied, then sadly under stress, this is neuroscience, under stress we regress. Please say it out loud, under stress I regress. It's human, it's so normal, under stress I regress. And the likeliness to regress can go down to zero when it's embodied. It's literally like, okay, to reshape something hardwired, something formed. We know that when we try to break an unhealthy habit, habits are so stubborn. This is why, for example, in my academy, every module, every month, there's one lesson focusing on one habit to bring what we learn in lesson 1, which is intellectually, energetic, and emotional, then in lesson 2 through habit creation into our body, into embodiment, so that you sustainably evolve, because that is what the world needs. Because I fear, worry, or assume the stress level will not go down much in the next months. We are not over the pandemic. We don't even grasp fully the effect economically, internationally, globally, politically. There's a lot of unrest. So the stress level, I fear, will even go up even more. And so the whole concept, again, here, terms, Terry, you've started it. there's a lot of talk about resilience, which is good. But again, what does resilience mean, and how does it show up, and how do we embody resilience as leaders in our everyday life? Terry, you tapped and triggered a ton of things. Before I give the word to, I think next one will be Anne. Yes, Terry, you want to add something? Say it.
Yeah, I just want to say, so I met you virtually last summer during the Juicy Life Leadership. And I remember thinking, I'm going to do this leadership thing. I was up hours upon hours because I'd missed part of it, and then I'd stay up all night to listen to the tapes and everything. And truly it changed my life because Steve, and as I also am from the Midwest, I'm from Kansas City, so we're just a drive away. Leadership is really my passion in my drawing, and now at 64 plus, I am moving away from my marketing into leadership. And you gave me the courage to develop the transition that I've been waiting for about 10 years, and have spent this year doing some incredibly fulfilling work that's also making a difference with other people. So I thank you, and I thank myself for making the commitment to stay with that entire thing last summer. And I'm excited to think, gosh, I've sort of been off and on with you for a year. So thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that. Here, everyone, I didn't know that. I had no clue about, I mean, I have shivers right now running down my spine. Thank you, Terry. And by the way, for all of you, the whole conference, the Juicy Life Leader Conference, which was really a paradigm shift even for online conferences regarding the experientiality and liveliness and tangibility we created, is available as a free bonus for everyone in the Academy. I will never sell it because that was the way I got some of the big gurus I was interviewing. They were only willing to come to the conference if I made a contract with them that I will never sell it. So I still have the whole thing created on a new page, and every member of the Juicy Life Leader Academy has for life access to that, because that conference was a gem. And several people asked me if I will do it again this year, and I said, no, sorry. The amount of work was close to dangerous, because, and also to be honest, the amount of investment, because I had a technical team carrying the whole thing, and the whole thing cost me a fortune, and I didn't sell it. So yeah, but thank you, Terry, because these are the kind of effects, I hope, but I don't know if I landed. So thank you. We have to talk. I want to hear more about that and what you're doing now. So back to here, our group space. And my dear, Anne Heuberg, are you in a place where you can, yes, here you are. So wonderful to see your face here in your beautiful picture. Please say hi, and how can we be of service here today? What's your question, or what would you like to use the space here? Anne, are you on your phone? We don't hear you yet. I see you are unmuted. I don't hear you yet. Can you hear me? Can anyone else hear Anne? I can't.
No, I can't hear Anne.
And it sounds like the technology is not our friend here to get you fully in. Maybe yelled, if you allow yourself. I'm not sure in what kind of public place you might be. While you try to get technology.
She might be away for a while.
Yeah, so let me then share a tiny bit here about you. Anne Heuberg has done historic research in the history of women's contributions throughout US history. She got several awards. She is active here in the Women's Museum of California, and she and I had the honor to work together with her for 1.5 years at the Women's Museum of California, offering free empowerment workshops for local women's groups. And Anne Heuberg does these delightful, probably not during the pandemic, but before that, she does walking tours of downtown San Diego from the feminist perspective, exploring the city on the feet of the history of women and their contributions in science. And thanks to Anne, I was able to get into the UN Association San Diego on the board, and also to the CSW, the Commission of the State of Women at New York, at the UN in New York, where I was speaking briefly. You got 1 minute slots. I don't know if you can feel that, but 1 minute can be extremely long, and 1 minute can mean the world. So especially my first speech at the UN during the Commission of the State of Women globally, I will never forget that. So Anne is one of those door openers and one of my mentors for political activism in the field of diversity and inclusion. And she does amazing work. And sadly, she says that I'm on an old computer. Thank you for your kind comments. How can I help a woman who leads? How can I help a woman who leads an organization? Let me see if, because it popped up, leads an organization, but is under attack by the women in the organization. Ooh, oh, that's the famous quote, there's a place in hell for women who don't help women, right? That's a complex question. So let me see, and you can type here maybe 1 or 2 more informations. Does the woman, so he leads an organization but is under attack, the women who are attacking her, on which level in the organizations are they? Are they legally, or what's the right English word? Is there a power dependency contract-wise between these women, or are the women who are attacking her on same level, like boardroom? Can you explain a tiny bit the power structure between the women? This would be helpful for narrowing a bit my answer, because this is a big topic. This is a big topic. And while Anne is maybe typing something, so the topic of women attacking women who are leaders, it's a classic, and it's part of the transition we are in from the patriarchy to the post-patriarchal society, and especially here in the United States, sadly also interwoven with lots of politics, because being a woman doesn't mean equally a woman is not patriarchal. I mean, all we women here, we grew up in the patriarchy, which means our subconscious mind is hardwired and filled with patriarchal beliefs, paradigms, and ways of operating. I joked in my women's empowerment school that I, for most of my life, was a man walking around with boobs, because I was so determined to be successful and show men that I can do it too and break glass ceilings for myself and others. But there was this paradigm as a woman, if you wanted to be successful, you had to play according to the rules of the game you wanted to join. And so when the game was the old boys network kind of game, well, what did we women do? We put on business suits with stripes. Remember in the 80s, the wonderful padded jackets of women? I mean, oh my gosh, yeah. So we even tried to shape our bodies in the triangle, yeah, and especially as women, when, you know, depending on your body style, for me to make my shoulders wider than my hips, I needed really big pants to look like a man. So there is, the patriarchy is an external system and culture, but it's also in us. It's in all of our minds. And so there are women, when they are deeply patriarchal, who react to a woman being in leadership as neurophysiologically as an hopefully don't butcher the word, as an abnormality. Is that an English word? Abnormality. Because a woman being in a leader position in a patriarchy, this is a no-no. This is not normal. A woman should not be in a leadership position. So when you, and I'm checking here the message, the leader has been attacked by another leader who has brought all lower level women to her views. Ooh, okay. So we have here hierarchy, 2 leaders, 2 leading women, who then uses the other woman underneath, power-wise, structure-wise, to attack the other woman. So we have here patriarchal power structures, and we have here competition. So it's a brutal war of egos, because ultimately it's about status, it's about money, it can be about safety, because depending on the financial background situation, it can be literally dangerous for a whole family if one of the women would lose their job and the money. So it's a really nasty, difficult situation. So how can you, the question was, how can you, Anne, as a women coach and empowerment mentor and a role model, how can you help that leader which got attacked by the other leader and the group of women? So I think you can do 2 things. First of all, spend time with her, because you are a role model. You embody non-patriarchal leadership as a woman. You have, in my experience, you are authentically, generally holding women up and holding their backs and uplifting them. Just being with you, if that somehow is possible despite pandemic and time restraints, that will through osmosis. This is a great thing when we leaders embody the transformation we want others to experience. When we embody them, others pick it up from us through osmosis. I know it sounds a bit woo-woo, but quantum physics can explain it. I can't. But that's just the way it is. People say simply, oh, this rubbed off of me. I've spent enough time with you, Sylvia, and finally it rubbed off of you onto me, whatever the right English phrase is. So you, as an embodied role model, and spending time with her will help her through osmosis. The other thing is teaching her, and there I don't know if you have a contract, if you are a coach, counselor, that she needs a lot of understanding how to stay out of her own ego being triggered. Because if she goes into fear, if she goes into reactive mode, then you have this classic pushing, there's a war. So she needs to learn how to manage herself and not go into fear, so that she, from a neuroscientific perspective, can stay in her wise self, in her sage self, and in the calm self to divert the attacks from the other woman. I personally don't do Tai Chi, but I know enough about Tai Chi that Tai Chi teaches the art how you take the energy of the attacker and you funnel it, you divert it, you move it, which brings me back to Mickey and the metaphor of the dance. She literally needs to learn how to stay. And that was one of our trainings a few weeks ago, I forgot which one, where we talked about the dignity of human beings is untouchable. So she needs to remember and learn how to manage her brain states, that she knows whatever the attack, I'm safe. And this is something you all can do as a mini exercise for your brain, because we all are under pressure and attack right now by the world. If you like, all of us, you put your hand, one hand on your heart, one hand on your solar plexus, take a deep breath and whisper it or say it out loud or yell it, depending where you are. I am safe no matter what. I am safe no matter what. I am safe no matter what. Because our beloved ego in our brain, in our subconscious mind, gets right now constantly triggered and goes into fear mode. And when you're a leader, you have on your mind and heart and starts leading and acting from fear, she will make the wrong decisions. She will make wrong choices, and she will start a war. And sadly, a war always leads to lose-lose. And this is now a very superficial, quick answer. Does that give you any ideas? Does it help you, Anne? Because it's a complex thing. I mean, ideally, If there is a budget, tell her to get a coach. If she has a small budget, send her the link to my Jersey Life Leader Academy, because there I can meet her twice a week in the office hours and help her. She needs support because the other woman has all the other women rallied behind her. Your leader woman needs to make sure that she is not alone. She needs a team, and the team holding her back can be also outside the company for the start to help her feel strong and safe to stay in her sage brain state. And my dear, I'm checking here the chat box, and I know your PC is a bit slow and acting up. I leave it for now for that, Anne, and maybe we both can telephone in the next days as well. Please give me some sign, maybe either write in the chat or use the emoticons on the bottom of the screen. This would be great. Thank you for that topic. This is a huge one. This is sadly one of the major obstacles. We evolving leaders who want to create together a world that works for everyone, which means creating a world which is post-patriarchal, we run into resistance. And the resistance is not just from men, the resistance is from patriarchal women as well. Because as I said, the brain, I didn't say it today, the brain loves obviously to feel safe and to be in control. So the brain wants everything to be the way it knows the world to be. And the world was for 7,000 years, men, everything male, above women. Leadership is male, per definition, leadership is male. So that we women now for a few decades stepped into more and more leadership, that we have now female chancellors here in Germany, Angela Merkel, after 16 years, she is now retiring. Yeah, an absolute a huge challenge right now in Germany. Yet potentially the next chancellor, I'm voting for her, will be again a woman from the Green Party, which I think would be a post-patriarchal double whammy, to have a party which is not business focused, not capitalism focused, but climate crisis turnaround focused, and a woman, green and a woman. This is like an intersectional double whammy of awesomeness for the next German chancellor. Yes, I'm embracing I am political with everything I do. I mean, that's just an absurd thought that anyone who is in a leadership position and is public saying anything could not be political. That's absurd. As soon you are a leader and you show up publicly, you make a political statement. Because if you don't talk about things which are burning and dangerous, that's a lack of leadership. And as soon as you start talking about it, well, people will then sense what your stand is, what you're taking a stand for. So I'm taking a stand for more leaders being women worldwide, and not because I don't love men. I'm married, I love men, I have male friends, and men are amazing. This is why I'm so happy we have here Steve and Shuya joining us. And in order for the world to heal and for the world to evolve, and in order to find solutions for the global problems we are facing, like the climate crisis, we need more women in leadership positions. And for that, we women need to learn to let go out of our instinctive patriarchal animosity of other women in leadership position. This is so horrible. The biggest criticism of women in leadership position comes first from other women, and women start to take them apart. I mean, the amount of criticism Angela Merkel got for her haircut, for her clothes, for the color of her suits, for her body weight, or in her first years of being in office by other women, ridiculous. This is so embarrassing. I mean, as a woman, I'm deeply ashamed that we spend so much time, energy on taking other women leaders apart, focusing on their fashion choices and their haircuts. This has to stop. So that was a little rant from my side. I check here the chat box if there is And typed here, thank you for your insightful comments. I'll be more of a friend and mentor to my friends. Well, that's a huge gift. And you, I know you, so you are holding her back. Remind her on her safety. And if you like, let's talk one-on-one on the phone the next days. So we have to switch a bit to rapid fire. Shuya, where are you? There you. Yeah, the screen is constantly changing. Shuya, hi. So lovely to see your beautiful face and knowing that you stayed up again. It's evening in your country. So how can we be of service here today?
Thank you very much, Sylvia. First of all, good morning and maybe good afternoon to all of you. It's 9:58, 10 p.m. here in Karachi, Pakistan. So, but I'm sort of night owl kind of a person. So I am not I sleep late, and that's a good time for me to think. Okay, so first thing, a comment. You know, this competition, an unhealthy competition, disliking between women. It's not only true for women. It exists between men as well. You know, so it's kind of, I would say it's also old school of thought. It's patriarchy, I would say. You know, disliking each other. You know, unhealthy competition. So it does not only you know, happen between women in leadership position. It happens you know, with men you know, disliking men or competing in an unhealthy way. You know, back stabbing the back and, you know, leg pulling. This happens in situations of men also. So this was just a comment. I have a question. I'll come to that also. One more comment on women empowerment. I think this this theme will go to the next level when men will actually start leading the women empowerment agenda. So far, I see that only women are leading this agenda of women empowerment. The real change will come when men will start leading this, when they will start believing in it, and they will start leading it. I don't see it happening. So many conferences are happening, so many discussions on forums are happening, but only to be led by women. So it seems like there's something that they want to sort of grab from the male-driven or male-dominated, you know, agendas in societies. So I think the real change will come when men will start leading it, and I'm all for it. And a question then, just a little bit more enlightenment from your end and elaboration on inner alignment first, right? The compass.
One quick second, Shuya. Steve, you need to go. Bye, Steve.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All good. Bye. Shuya, start with your question again. I was a bit distracted with
that. Yeah. The question is that this inner alignment first, right? When you align something, you need, of course, you've been talking about the compass.
When you align something, you need what?
A compass.
A compass, yes.
Right. So, yeah.
I love that you say that, because we have that. We have the compass. We have in the Juicy Life Leader Academy, we have the compass. And you have it too. You have it too. Not only that, it's your values. Everyone has a compass. Everyone has a compass. Everyone has values. The question comes, what do you choose to make your true north? And people who are still stuck in the patriarchy make a different value their true north from those of us who have been able to consciously evolve beyond that. So Shuya, what's your question around the compass and the alignment?
Yeah, the question is that, are you saying that we need to shift to a new belief system, new value system, and first start believing them internally?
Yes,
Right.
yes to everything you said. And I want to go briefly back because everything you said is so beautifully interconnected. The problem of unhealthy competition between men or women or anybody is caused by one of the two root causes of the patriarchy, which, by the way, I have a poster which explains that, an infographic on my juicylifeleader.com webpage. When you go to the button philosophy, there you see in the middle a time graph talking about matriarchy, patriarchy, and there on that page below, you see what I'm now sharing, a bit explained. The patriarchy, one of the core roots is scarcity. Scarcity of resources, scarcity, and in the corporate world, scarcity of power, status, money. So unhealthy competition, independent of men or women, they are fighting over something they believe that doesn't exist enough that everyone could get enough. If I believe in this company, there are not enough, it's not enough work or not enough projects that we could have two leaders on that level, then there is a competition and that position is scarce, right? So unhealthy competition comes from a paradigm of scarcity, which is fear-based. And then when you said women empowerment, you think we need more men to lead that. Yes, again. Positive side note, I have met at the UN in New York, and also, and this is where Marilena and I met, at the global WIN conferences, Women International Network conferences in Oslo and in Rome, a lot of men from different corporations, and I apologize, I don't have the names on my tongue right now, but I could look them up. So there are worldwide corporate leaders, CEOs, who invest money, attention, and genuine space in their life and in their work to be the head of huge women empowerment initiatives. But I agree with you, we need more of those. So my positive answer or comment is they exist. There are men around the world who do what you ask, and yet they are not enough. And the challenge here is, and that is sadly a bit of a blind spot in the women's empowerment movement or in feminists, there are a lot of women who would perceive it as another patriarchal act that a man dares to lead a women's empowering initiative. So there is a bit of, and I am a feminist, and as in all movements, there are different shades of different groups. There are feminists who have, in my perception, and I will post this here on YouTube and I might get attacked because of what I'm going to say, but there are feminists who are shooting our movement into their own foot by not realizing their own patriarchal blind spots, where even feminist women are acting like men subconsciously when it comes to the scarcity and fear-based thinking, where women would not allow a man to run a women's empowerment initiative because they project negatively that this is just another power play. So I think men and women in corporate have to learn that when we really want to live diversity and inclusion genuinely and real and authentically, we have to stop making it about the gender. There is a leader, and it doesn't matter if he is a man or if she is a woman or anything in between in the continuum of sexual orientation and self-identified gender choices, that the gender doesn't matter for a leader to take up the women's empowerment as a cause. As long women attack the gender of the leader, they, even if they are declared feminist, have a patriarchal blind spot. And then the third comment to your question about inner alignment and values, you are spot on, spot on. There are values in the patriarchy which are not sustainable. For example, this power over others. That is a value, but that's an ego-driven, fear-based value. So there are values which are in alignment with evolution, with sustainability, and then there are values which are not in alignment. So yes, we all, and this is part of what we do in the Juicy Life Leader Academy, to find out what are your values, in what hierarchy or priority are they in you, what is your own personal true north, and in order to align or change your values, and this is something, this is deep inner soul search work people don't do by themselves most of the time, and it's hard to do by books. This is why I do it in the academy. You need to also understand where the values are coming from. Without understanding where a value is coming from, it's super hard to change it. Because very, very often we are living out values which are not our own, which are from mom or mother or father or lineage or ancestry or religion or culture or environment or who and whatever. And so deep value research in yourself so that you have it aware, and then doing the alignment final work. I mean, this is the awareness part is already alignment work. And then you have to make choices to make sure you have an inner compass. I'm not sure about the, what's the English word when you have a new compass and you have to make sure it functions properly. The German word is Eichen, which means you adjust to truly point north. I don't know how you call this when you have a fresh compass which needs to made. Can anyone help me here with the English word? What do you call it?
Calibrated?
Yes, you have to, perfect, thank you. Calibrate, how could I forget? Calibration, you have to calibrate your own values, and you have to, and when I say you have to, sorry, and my passion goes through here with me. You don't have to do anything. My invitation is to calibrate your values in alignment with evolutionary trends so that you are on the sustainable track. And then you calibrate yourself as a leader, your thinking, your decision-making, your ways of operating. You calibrate that in alignment with the calibrated values. Does it make sense, Julia?
Yeah, thank you. If Mariam could allow me to, because she's raising her hand, to ask one more question.
Yes.
And you can just answer very, very briefly. In the framework of Juicy Life Leader, because if you want corporate world to adopt this framework, the new model of leadership, then because corporate world is all about, ultimately is all about results, performance. So I am trying to understand it based on whatever is available on the website, but I need to understand the connect between joy and impact with the results. And when we say results, I see it as increasing the business performance as well.
Yeah. So
just
what I do with corporate leaders to become aware. I mean, I take a step back. In the corporate world, when you get through the current stress in the minds, I mean, there's with the pandemic, there's current stressors. But let's say we have a leader in front of us who is not completely dysfunctional because of current stress. And we can have a real conversation. What I use is, and this is a part of the ebook, the Leadership Compass, there's a page where I talk about the cost of the patriarchal paradigm. I always start with a cost analysis because leaders are all about cost reduction, cost hurt, right? And numbers is the language corporate leaders understand. So I sit down with them, I ask them, what are your current ways of operating? And then we discuss it, we make a brainstorm, we have a list, 10 ways of operating, which are most of the time to 100% patriarchal with some exceptions. And then I ask them, imagine you keep operating like that for the next 10 years, 20, or if you have a legacy company and you want your company to last another 100 years, what will be the cost of staying in that paradigm of these 10 ways of operating? So I make them face, or in Germany we say, I push that nose into the manure. I push the nose into the shit. When they realize, oh, we are hurting ourselves long term. The problem nowadays, and this is here especially strong in the United States, is short-term thinking. There are horrendous, dangerous decisions made everywhere around the world right now because of short-term thinking. Because people are not taking the time to face the long-term cost. So when they face the long-term cost, which is uncomfortable, ouch, and I can hold the space for them that we can talk through that, then they wake up. That's the way. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like to, wake people up with pain. I prefer to call them with my vision, with my quirky, beautiful, joyful, juiciness. But most people have closed ears to that. So my preferred way is to start with the joy, but in reality, practically, when I have and I mean it lovingly, not judgmental, when I have a stubborn, patriarchal, blind-spotted person, man or woman in front of me, I wake them up with making them face the long-term cost. And then they listen. And then I can show them here, bit Mickey. This is such a beautiful coming here to a closure. And I want to give Marilena and Asra a moment here quickly too. As Mickey embodied so beautifully. In the midst of the biggest, hottest, most stressful phase of her company, her hotel, she takes 4 days off to do inner alignment work. Mickey, you are living the juicy life. You are following the juice. You follow the happiness. You follow the joys. You will have amazing 4 days, and that serves the company. That trip costs something. Yeah, and sadly, I assume you would pay it privately, even though I would say you should pay it from the hotel, from the corporate budget, because that is leadership development at its finest. Yeah. So, Shuya, does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thanks to
Mickey?
This lady. The one who has been raising hand and waiting, for my questions to finish.
Okay, I have maximum 5 minutes before I have to go. So Marilena, you are next, and then Ezra. Marilena.
Yes, Marilena. I was referring to Marilena.
Hi.
She has been waiting.
Hi, everyone, and thank you. It's actually always very nice also to listen to your questions and the answers. I'll be very quick. I have 2 inputs and 1 question. One is related to the dance and to the equilibrium of dance. I joined when Mickey was talking about the dance and how music and the dancers have to fit and have the balance. And I invite all of you to look at, on YouTube, to look at the American tribal style dance. It's a belly dance style that Mickey and I have been dancing together, actually. And whereby women are doing the belly dancing not for the men. They're doing it for themselves as a group. And it's beautiful because there is one person who always goes up to the front. It's all improvisation. And one woman becomes the leader and all others are followers. And then after a couple of minutes, there is a round circle and a new woman becomes a new leader. And all the others are the followers of that leader. And there you have this beautiful balance of being a leader and being able to also follow other leaders and to share the stage, to share the time, to share the music, to share the pleasure of the dance. So I think this really embodies what we have been talking about. The second point is male allies as allies. I run the Women's Informal Network. It's a network of about 700 women, professional women who work in the sector of the development sector. And the scope of this network is to empower women and to foster the women leadership skills, etc. So we organize seminars and various things. And recently I've organized one about communication for fearless women, how to react in difficult situation when men are, you know, assuming things just because we are women. How should we react in order not for the men to become the enemy, but also to let them understand that this is not okay or things are differently. And so in talking with the person who ran this this workshop, we were talking about how important it is that we bring men to our side. And like Shuya was saying, it's really a shift that needs to happen. It's not women talking to women about women's empowerment. It's us all talking all together to get to the gender partnership, because it's not about the women, it's about us all living in harmony. And so although my network is only for women, we do have the first, I called him the gender champion. He said humbly, no, I don't feel like being called a champion at all. So then we thought, okay, we will call him the ally. And now this is coming up more and more, that we have to have these allies. So my next, one of the next seminars I will organize will be for the male allies, to not teach them, but to give them tools when they are bystanders of situations, like in meetings or in organizations where something is happening and they feel like this is not okay. But how can they step up to protect or support women without getting themselves into a difficult situation, but still supporting? And so there are ways, you know, when you can bring in things with a joke, or when you can support a woman that has been interrupted by someone to give her back the floor, or, you know, various things that can happen nowadays on Zoom, etc. So that's going to be a very interesting one. And obviously we will extend the invitation also to Sylvia and your male allies of the luminaries. And the third point is that, yes, definitely. And the third point is the question I have when you were talking, Sylvia, about your training, this free training, and a lot of people are benefiting. And I am doing the network for free. It's not my job. I'm not earning from it, you know, apart from my learnings, my personal development. And I'm putting a lot of time into it. So sometimes I struggle with how much effort, time, enthusiasm I should put into it, because obviously I have a full-time job that is very challenging. I am a mother of 3 children and a wife, so my husband also deserves his part of attention. And so sometimes I'm like, should I really continue to do this? And then it is comments, Terry, like your comment that you made to Sylvia today, that keep me going, but I believe also Sylvia. When we hear it back, coming back, when the women are saying, Marilena, this workshop, you know, it helped me so much. It opened my eyes, or it helped me on other ways, whatever it is. That feedback really keeps me going. And I believe, Sylvia, it is also for you, it is true. But my question is, how much should we invest, and how much should we focus on the self time? Because for me, the day should not have 24 hours. It needs many more hours, because I have so much to do and to give and to organize. But unfortunately, there are only 24 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Any solutions to that? Thank you.
Marilena, 3 amazing topics at a moment where I nearly have to leave. So let me take a deep breath. The dancing metaphor, I have experienced those circles a lot of times in my life, mainly with women, but also sometimes with men, in, let's call them alternative communities and festivities and small villages. It's a ritual of from matriarchal times, which I think is worth to be carried through time also into our future. And in biology, in the animal queendom, we see it with geese. Have you ever watched how geese are flying with the triangle shaped line, and the leader leads and flies on the front tip till they are exhausted, and then they go to the back of the line and someone else takes over. This is how geese can fly over days. And I mean, it's astounding the distance they can cover as a group, because they create this formidable formation and have this shared leadership, where there is a lot of research about that available, what kind of companies and corporations and what kind of departments or teams can take on this model of shared leadership. It's a big, complex, gorgeous topic which needs more space and time. Then allyship. I just underline everything you said, Marilena, and I want to feel the honoring what you mentioned here. Terry gave me as a gift. What you do for these 700, 800 women worldwide, I've met a few of them, is so, so valuable that of course, your soul will forbid you to ever stop doing it. And yet, coming to your question, and I have not a finished answer because I'm struggling with that myself. It's a question how to, especially when you are a loving giver. I mean, I want to give even more than I already give. And there are limitations. I have a body, and the human body needs sleep. I mean, really? Yeah, my body needs sleep and food and a break, and I need to go soon. So I think the key is to develop, this is what I work on in the moment and teach in the academy, is to develop healthy, sustainable micro habits throughout the day for everything, for all your roles, as a mother, as a wife, as in your corporate job, as a leader of your volunteering nonprofit community, and as a leader of your private pursuits. I mean, you want some hobbies and self-expression as well. We need an everyday life which has sustainable, healthy micro habits, which allows us the dance to be in the role, whatever role it is, and then get out to connect here, Shuya, the inner alignment. The inner alignment work is super hard to do while you are in the heat of the situation, while you are in there. So it's about developing for your specific circumstances and roles a healthy system of micro habits, of micro breaks. I, for example, so this is not a final answer, Marilena. I'm in my own research and process of getting better at it in the balancing act of this dance. I bought myself, and I show it to you next week, a cute weeding, gardening, colorful flowery bag with little tools or shovels and a knee pad, because my husband asked me to do that for years, but somehow I never had the time. I make now the goal that minimum 3 times a week, I go for 15 minutes and get literally dirty with my fingers in the garden. I'm weeding because I have no green thumb. So you don't want me to do anything else with the poor flowers and our trees. But I started to weed. And the weeding is now part of my leadership self-care. Yeah, it's not about gardening. It's not about pleasing my husband, who is now happy that I support him in the garden work. It's about me realizing I need this grounding. I need to dig my fingertips into the earth to get out of all my outpourings through my heart and head into the world. Deep breath. Asra, gorgeous, sweetheart. We meet live this Friday. Can you join me live for the office hours? Because then I would postpone our interaction.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, no problem. I just had some questions about the Leadership Academy I signed up for.
Yes, then
yes, Friday works.
Yeah, then let's do this one-on-one. And about that, we can also telephone today later, my dear, because I want to make sure we have access and get to the dashboard and everything. Thank you for your understanding. We are here way over the time. Beloved viewer of the replay, wow, you are watching here nearly 90 minutes of a group discussion from our wonderful global community empowerment training group here. We are leaders from, in the moment, 3 different continents. If you want to join us every week on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, go to the link juicylifeleader.com/free training. And obviously, if you want to get deeper into working with me, meeting me twice a month on office hours for deeper coaching, learn the science behind all of that, develop once a month a new habit for sustainability and evolve to become a Juicy Life leader. I invite you, I beg you, I pull you, kick you, love you. Join me with the leaders from around the world, men and women, in the pursuit to create a post-patriarchal world that works for everyone and which is rooted in love and joy and diversity and inclusion. The link is juicylifeleader.com. Thank you for those who are still here. Terry, Shuya, Mickey, Marilena, I love you, beloved viewer, even though we have not met. But I do. So see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.